I'm Dr. Uche, a practicing physician who's been coaching others to write and publish their biographies since 2013. The first autobiographies I brought to publication were for my dad and granddad, and those took more than 5 years and lots of mistakes. On this channel, I will show you the tools I use to perfect the process so that you can have your biography done in 6 months or less without the delays and mistakes. Remember to subscribe and share with your friends. Let's dig in. All of us are involved in these through our lifespan, and yet there's so much to be learned from mistakes we make, things we learn along the way. And it's something you can also ask your older relative because there's so much you can learn from their life journey as it pertains to this aspect I'm going to be talking about. Stay tuned. Relationships, right? Relationships, and I'm not talking necessarily romantic relationships only. I'm talking about friendships. I'm talking about how you interact with blood relatives. I'm talking about, of course, romantic relationships. What have you learned from relationships? I think that's such an important question. In reading the autobiography of most people, you notice who they highlight. People who blessed them on their life journey, people who maybe have been less than what they expected. So every single one of us has those. I know now, as somebody in my 40s, I know there are mistakes I've made when I was younger, and there are friendships that I lost or didn't carry on with, sometimes through my own fault, mistakes I made, but sometimes something just didn't work, or I wasn't discerning enough to realize that somebody wasn't in a season where they wanted to be a friend, contrary to what I was hoping to develop with a person. So there's so much we can learn about ourselves, the things that matter, things we won't do again, things we know to do better next time. And I think it's so important to take some time to ask your older relatives about friendships and relationships. That person who you saw or you see your father or your mother being close with for 5, 6, 7 decades, what's the reason? You know, what happened? How did they evolve to be close over so long? Maybe some people who you would have thought would be in their circle, but who are not. Perhaps family members, perhaps people they work with, who they encounter often, but you see they're not very close. What is the reason? What could I learn from this? Is it a mistake your family member made or they made, right? Nobody is perfect. No one is innocent. Every situation has two sides of it. But I think that we should spend time asking about that so we're not constantly trying to reinvent the wheel. And that's something else I like about biographies is there's so much all of us could learn from somebody else's life journey. So, relationships. Who is in your circle? Who are you sad to have outside your circle? Who is outside your circle that you are happy they're not in your circle, right? Because there are people who really should not be in our circle, right? Over time, you learn they're not blessing you, they're taking from you, right? And for your peace of mind, you don't need those people in your circle. There are such people, and there's nothing to be shy about. That's something to embrace fully, right? For your health, physical, and mental well-being, there are some people who should not be in your circle. And ask the same of your parents. See if you can learn from decisions they made. See if you can learn from their mistakes. See if you can learn from how they managed to keep a relationship enduring with the passing of time. And then, of course, romantic relationships. How did you choose a life partner? Are you one of those whose parents are, I don't know, married for 60 years or 70 years or however long, right? What can you learn from how they managed to stick around with each other that long? How did they deal with issues that came up? How did they choose each other? The lessons that you could learn from that. And unfortunately, I feel like when we need to know such things, especially about romantic relationships, is not always when we're asking or when we're mature enough to know to ask. A lot of folks in their 20s may not even be fully brain mature, and yet they're having to make life decisions. But for what it's worth, that's the important aspect of writing stories. Instead of asking directly, you can also refer to what your parent has written, right? And that would be yet another way to see how they decided on certain things. And then, again, to my point, those who have the opportunity to ask if you're directly writing for a family member, those are things you can tease out in talking to them. Even if they're not beneficial for you, they could be beneficial for your child or somebody younger who's going to read that story someday. Okay? What do you think? Did this resonate with you? I'll see you in my next video.